Thank you, Linda. I see it. Johnson. I see it. You ready to start if you are?
Good evening. It is 6:30, Thursday, January 15th, 2026. We now call to order the Historic Town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment Agency meeting. Ms. Jones, would you please do a roll call? Yes, ma'am.
Director Gardner?
Here.
Chair Gardner? You there? Vice Chair Washington?
Present.
Director Jordan?
Here.
Director Mack?
Here.
Director Randolph?
Here.
Director Williams? Not present. Director Critton? Here. Thank you. We have our quorum.
Thank you. Please stand for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. The pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The next item is, there are no presentations, so citizen.
Filter.
We have a presentation.
We do have a presentation.
Presentation.
No.
Oh, presentation.
Okay. So there was some discussion last night with the city council. And I thought it was important that some things get clarified. So you have a document in front of you, and I'm gonna go through this for the purpose. Just the CRA is not trying to take over nothing. So, and this is the SOP on which communication and functionality is. When people ask, what CRA got to do with anything, the whole town is the CRA history. So chapter 163 plays a vital role into all development and redevelopment. So next slide. Can you move there? So the purpose of an SOP for the CRA is to establish a formal, consistent oversight process, define monitoring, coordination, and advisory responsibilities. That's very key, what I just said, monitoring, coordination, and advisory responsibility. It's not to do anything other than that. Ensure transparency and accountability and institutional continuity. Protect redevelopment objectives and public interest. And those are those things at the bottom are the statutes that mandate that for us. Next slide. This is another reiteration of the statutes that this document makes reference to. And I just, like I said, I wanted to get the board to understand their responsibility as a CRA agency to all redevelopment activities. Correct? Redevelopment initiatives within the town of Eatonville. This is things we oversee anyway. And acquisition, disposition, affecting redevelopment areas, we deal with that also. Private and public redevelopment coordination, that needs to happen so everybody can be transparent and make sure everybody knows what's going on. Activities of long-term municipal and community impact. There's the statutes and the citing of all the public information if anybody wants to check it out. The CRA board policy guidance and oversight of what I just said, coordination, monitoring, and advisory. Nothing else. CRA, and I am the person as the director to make sure those things are happening. The legal counsel is reviewing everything that goes on from a legal standpoint and risk standpoint. The CRA staff and consultants monitoring documentation and support. Maintain centralized redevelopment oversight records. Monitor milestones, representations, and timelines. Coordinate with the town's departments and partners. Identify and elevate risks and policy issues. Track redevelopment milestones and deliverables. Document dependencies on town action or approvals. Evaluate consistency with redevelopment objectives and monitoring. Monitoring does not constitute approval or endorsement of anything that's going on. But coordination protocol, CRA executive director serves as the primary coordination point, centralized communication to prevent inconsistency and commitments. That's just making sure everybody knows what everybody's doing, what everybody's saying. No binding representation without town council action. All coordination is documented for institutional records. Institutional records, sorry. Reporting advisory board. Periodic reports to the CRA board and the town council. Trigger reports upon material changes and risks. Advisory recommendations only. No assumption, no enforcement authority. Evaluation criteria. You have it in detail in your presentation I put on your Yes, consistency with CRA development plan, align with town comprehensive plan, because the CRA plan and comprehensive plan has to be in line. Fiscal and operational impact on the town, equity and displacement and long-term community outcomes. Limitations of the CRA and its authority. We have no contract enforcement authority, no zoning, no permitting, no development approval, no acceptance of any property or obligations, no waiver of the town or state regulations. Record keeping and transparency, compliance with Florida Statute Public Records Law, compliance with Florida Sunshine Law, audit ready documentation practices, and clear public record of oversight action. Risk management objectives. Prevent fragmented or inconsistent redevelopment actions. Preserve town legislative and regulatory authority. Ensure continuity across staff or other board changes. Support informed decision making. Redevelopment activities identify, oversight, file creation, monitoring, coordination, and conducted advisory reports issued. So basically, that's what the CRA does as far as the information in the workflow. Nothing in there is taking any responsibility that the town has, statutory, legislative, nothing's taking nothing from the town. It's clearly defined strictly to the CRA in chapter 163. Next. In conclusion, the CRA SOP formalizes a consistent governance practice, strengthens transparency and accountability, supports long-term redevelopment success, protect the town of Eatonville's interests. That's important, protect the town of Eatonville's interests. So, to clear up all what was said last night, you have the documents in front of you. You have what the intent of what that was. There was nothing that was said last night. Absolutely nothing. We're not trying to take over the town and the town council's responsibilities. You have a responsibility as the agency for your CRA statutory required job duties to make sure those things are being done. And it's important for me to make sure you know that. Okay, so that's all I have as far as the presentation. I'll answer any questions anybody have at this point.
So as far as, in addition to what we did last night, as far as an agreement for the services, the developmental services. So basically, your responsibility, well, not your, but the CRA will be the monitoring of all of the projects and things that are going on to make sure that we are
And report back there.
and report back to us to make sure that everything that we agree to, we are in compliance. Is
And
that
making sure everybody's.
okay? And that is in addition to our legal advisors
Everybody.
for both agency and also for Matt agency.
Once
Matt Lawrence.
we do the back end.
Yeah, on the back end, yes,
But in the same concept, yes.
yes.
You have to remember, y'all the town council plus 2 other people. So you have your role as the town council, what you're supposed to do, but you have your statutory role as the agency, what you're supposed to get on.
Okay,
And that's what that document was about last night. It had nothing to do with trying to take over nothing. So whoever was saying that should not have been saying that. This is strictly, everything we do is in line with Florida statute, chapter 163, public records law, chapter 112 and chapter 119. The attorney has reviewed this thing and he approves the form.
did I hear anything about an advisory committee?
No, we're not.
That's not advisory. I'm
That's
just asking a question.
our role
Okay.
is strictly advisory.
Okay,
Our role is strictly
Okay.
that's all of us. Role is strictly advisory when we're meeting as the CRA board, right? Now, we don't interfere with nothing the town doing. We just monitor everything and create reports for the public record to make sure everybody knows what's going on. It's called transparency.
I did today. Now Papa asked to be a part of SOP with us today. At the Tri-Legal City meeting. So if you need any SOPs, let me know.
Yeah.
So people definitely want to look out and help Town Eatonville. So that's one thing came in the conversation today.
Well, most of
The
the problems is we create policies, we pass resolutions, but there's no operating procedure. So if I'm gone and the next person, they don't know where to jump in and where not to jump in. They don't know where in the process the roles are played. But when you develop SOPs going forward, and you will see that consistently with actions coming from us, there's going to be an SOP to everything. That way it's always open and everybody knows what's going on. Nobody's doing nothing behind nobody's back because there's no secret, right? And it meets your expectation of reporting because every year I have to do an annual report to everything that's going on in your district.
okay, is there any type of program that you're going to be utilizing to input information on a log, like a weekly or daily log?
You will get, I think in the presentation packet that I have,
Yes.
it's not on the PowerPoint, but it talks about the reporting and how then you should receive report monthly to keep y'all abreast from the agency standpoint, from the CRA standpoint. I'm not talking about nobody else's standpoint. It's just because you have a responsibility to the district. Y'all are the agency. So you need to know everything that's going on from our perspective, from the agency.
I have a couple questions, if you guys finish. Well, I have an opportunity to speak to you today, and I appreciate your time, the effort to explain everything to me. My question would be directly to the attorney. Have you had an opportunity to review the document that's been presented?
Yes, sir, I have.
And we're in good standing in terms of doing everything legal?
Yes, sir, in terms of form and substance and what I reviewed in the document, everything is in line, yes, sir.
Okay, thanks. That's all I need. Hey, by the way, great presentation, and I think this is much needed. So thank you for your leadership.
And you'll get SOPs going forward because we got to put those policies in place, procedures in place to make sure we never get off track.
Right. Much needed.
That's all I have.
I have a question.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
I got a few. Can you bear with me? I didn't get a chance to talk to you like I normally do, so if you could just entertain me for a few. Can you name any other case studies or cities that operate? I know you just mentioned the Popka has something similar. But cities or towns that have this form of I'm sorry, Ms. King. cities or towns that have this form of an SOP in place for, I guess maybe it's not specific to any one project, but just in general, can you, outside of a pop, maybe some smaller? Because, we are unique with the district being the whole town and.
To be honest with you, I didn't look to see what other cities doing. I'm just gonna
Okay.
be honest with you. I just know we need it for accountability.
Understood. I definitely agree with the SOP process. Again, it's position specific, not person specific. I support that. So maybe I can get with you later to discuss what it looks like in other cities and how we implement that in Eatonville. I would like to know, maybe this is a question for the attorney. What authority does the CRA have to be the reporting agency over either the council or an advisory board? That's being proposed, like what allows us to dictate that process?
Process can be dictated by whatever the board or whatever it is that the council sees fit in order to make sure that a process is followed. Can I sit here and say that there is a statutory requirement that that is done? I cannot say that. What I can say though is that if a municipality determines or decides that there is an agency, an individual, or whatever, because it doesn't even have to be an agency that does it. It could be an individual that they appoint to oversee certain processes. And so that is what allows us what the municipality would like to see in terms of who is helping to guide certain efforts. I do want to address one question that you had, because we asked a question, it made me think about it also of other municipalities that have SOPs. And it appears that it is something that's used, City of Punta Gorda, which is a decent size. Maitland also operates off of SOPs. Polk County operates off of SOPs. So there are a number of, just in my quick view, to determine what other municipalities, for whatever reason, use SOPs. Those are just some of the few that I was able to just look up just real quickly based on your question. I appreciate you for that.
Okay. And I guess as a follow-up to your response, I heard you say the council. So if we approve this as, I know that, because that's a question on here too, what are we doing with this tonight? So let's say that this comes before us as something that we want to implement. Are you bringing this to the board for approval as far as how it's set up? Like what direction are we going with this document?
I'm not gonna do nothing until we're directed by that resolution that was presented last night. If that never passes, I'm going on doing what the regular business I've been doing, and I'm gonna keep it moving.
Okay, so then let me backtrack. So, and this is just from my understanding. So we are having this discussion tonight
It's already
in
clear.
complement to last
What's
night's discussion, which I was in the audience and slightly shocked about. So thank you for bringing it to the table tonight. So if we go along with this tonight and then because it has to go back to the council.
Has to be approved.
They are the authority, the governing
Yes.
body that gets to decide what is implemented.
Right.
So if the council comes back and they say we are in favor of this operating procedure and we want to go ahead and implement it, at what point does the CRA get booted?
What you mean?
For example, there are clearly cities that.
We would come back and ask you guys in the special session, because the next meeting is not till the third Thursday of next month. So we do have some other issues that we got to bring back in the special session. That will be on there to follow through what the council is mandating.
So the reason that I'm asking is because, as we've all been made aware, the conversation has been that there is a proposed pending advisory board. So what I'm concerned about is if we push this and then it goes to the council and then there is some conflict with, for example, an advisory board, who takes charge
Who takes charge of the?
of this operating procedure, of this structure?
This is the advisory board. So. Are you, who?
Of Dr. Phillips. I didn't know what line
We don't
was.
have no control of that.
Right, so that's why I'm asking. So for example, if they decide that, hey, we want to collaborate with the community to create an advisory board, and we have the council that has enacted this standard operating
This doesn't
procedure.
interfere with that.
Pardon me?
This doesn't interfere with that.
It's more of a collaboration than anything. Okay. And again, so tonight we're just providing meat to the bones that they received the other night.
Yes.
Or
I
last
wanted to
night.
come explain it, so everybody can understand some of the things I heard that was said were not accurate at all. We're not trying to take over nothing. of the town's function and operations at all. This is strictly you as the board of the agency. The board is the agency, not me. I'm a staff person for the agency. The board is the agency. And this is your role statutorily, that you have a responsibility to oversee. Those things that I mentioned, monitoring, advising, and all that stuff, that's in the statute. That's not me. That's the statute says that. That is your role under chapter 163, to make sure those things are happening with all redevelopment activity, not just what's going on over there, all redevelopment activity.
And to be totally honest, that's where the line is blurring for me because, for example, if you have a private developer, and just rock with me, if you have a private developer
Mhm.
that has decided how they want to move forward,
Mhm.
what authority do we have? And I'm not being funny. What authority do we have to walk into the door and say, this is what,
So
I know we have leverage as a community, et cetera. So help me just understand.
as far as the agency, your Bible is your community redevelopment plan,
Absolutely.
right? And your responsibilities to that plan and to the Florida statute requirements under chapter 163, was that 370?
Yes, sir.
And all those things they list, right? It's about 20 of them, right? That is your responsibility. And anything listed in that as a responsibility, you're responsible for it. So one of those things that you saw listed up there, advisory, monitoring, coordinating, those are things that statutorily you're supposed to be doing anyway. When I say the agency is supposed to be doing, I do it for you, but you represent the agency. The 7 of you guys. Y'all are the agency, not me.
Okay, that works for me. A couple more. Good, very, thank you. So you did answer one of them, thank you. And I guess you did answer this one. I guess it was, does this dictate the process regardless of ownership?
It does.
Simply serves as a resource or a tool in the box. It's an option, not an obligation.
It's not an obligation. It's just a monitoring, something we have to do anyway. And we were supposed to be doing with any redevelopment. Say when they built Udscribe, we should have been monitoring of that whole process. Because it's a redevelopment. It's taking land and they have no money. And put something on it, right? We're supposed to be monitoring all that stuff. Regardless, the town process is all the town process. We're not there to tell them you're doing something wrong. We're not there to question anything. It's just monitoring, saying, hey, this is where they're at in the process. From the agency, we advise this.
Thank you for the clarity, because last night sitting in the audience, it did sound very much like
It did sound.
the controlling party, which is hard to accept. Because if I pay taxes on a piece of property, or if I own a piece of property, I know there are some levels of authority, but a complete authority is almost
Keep in mind,
questionable.
and everybody need to keep in mind. There are certain statutory things the CRA can do that the town can't do. And there are certain statutory things the town can do, like condemnation, that we can't,
Absolutely.
right? But you have your responsibility to chapter 163 as a board. So you, all of them, 163, 370, all those things listed. And in your plan, that's why this is done. This has nothing to do with interfering with nothing that's going on. This is accountability to the district, because that's your role and that's your responsibility to make sure the district is everything's moving the way it's supposed to go.
Okay, so you don't actually need any action from us tonight.
I just wanted to clear up what happened last night, and until that resolution get passed, you won't hear from me again.
Yeah, understood. And I wanted to emphasize that as well, because as a non-elected official sitting up here, I don't want to confuse the lines between what we have the authority to do and what should be coming before that board, and the respect to the authority and the responsibility of that board.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to make sure that and I'm glad you asked the attorney if we're in good standing, because I want to ensure that we don't overstep our bounds where it relates to the responsibilities that they have. We understand even with any one specific project, we understand if it has to go to the council, then it has to go to the council. And up here, we are not the council. Up here, we are just a board of directors who may wear more than one hat. And out of respect to that hat, I just wanted to clarify. So thank you.
Yeah, so that was my reason. What also keep in mind, this is the majority of the time, this is the town council.
I ain't gonna overstep my boundaries. Let me be
So
specific.
I mean, I'm just saying, they are the town council. So if they got a problem with something, they mean they got a problem with themselves. as the town council.
Right. And that was one of the reasons why I tabled it, we'll push the issue to table it, and I'm glad we did, because we wanted to make sure that we're lining up with everything that we can do legally. And I wanted to have opportunity to speak with the attorney, which I did, and he gave me clarity on what I needed to hear. And hopefully that particular, this particular item be on the next council meeting while we could vote it up and down.
And this is very important. The reason it went to the town council, because I didn't want to act like I'm forcing my way involved in something. This is statutory our responsibility, and I thought it was important that the board know that.
And I think it's important and very necessary, especially with everything that's coming down the pipeline within our town.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. We've had 45 special meetings in 45 days. And so again, timeline makes a difference as well, because the perception is, and so I think it's our responsibility to clear that up as well, what we are intending to do and not.
Nobody knew what was going on. So when you operate at an information deficit, it's hard to prepare or put policies and procedures in place to just have accountability and transparency.
I was just caught a little off guard. Thank you.
Just want to make sure everybody's.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So if the council, say if this never hits the council,
It never happened.
these are for, but by Florida statutes, it stated that this is what the CRA does, am I right?
But, right.
So you shouldn't need an agreement of any kind,
Well,
because this should have already been happening, am I right?
I did not want to move without the council's blessings. Then that's why. So that policy is not being asked for you to adopt that tonight. Once the council say, okay, yeah, then I'm gonna come back and say, adopt this. So we'll know what our role and responsibilities are. So we'll know we're not here to try to get in planning issues. We're not here for none of that. None of the town process.
I think you're missing my point though. If it's already in law, if it's already written in the law, why do we need to write it again and then agree upon something that's already covered by law?
It's not it's a law, Grant, but you still got to have procedures of how you engage in enforcing and reviewing that law and making sure that law is being complied with, right? So how else, if there is a meet, I'm gonna give you a prime example. Let's use planning and zoning or something, I don't know. There's a government meeting and decisions are made. When you switch hats from the council side to the CRA side, who's informing you? How do you know? If the town council and they don't give you a report to tell you, how would you know?
But
How would you know?
But standard operating procedures, to me, this is clear. I want to have this conversation. It's steps, am I right? So I guess in here, I'm not seeing communication. Who's going to do that? How? Though, to me, that's a standard operating procedure. So I see that, to me, this is more of a definition. And I'm looking specifically at intergovernmental coordination, designated point of contact. And it says that you'll be the single point of contact, and then it lists those parts. But there's still no set. Who's gonna, I guess I'm looking for more detail. If you say standard operating procedures, is how are you gonna go about to carry out what the law says to do? And that's not what I see here.
So on behalf of the board and what's going on, that's why when you go to there's responsible roles and responsibilities. It's my job to make sure y'all know. So when you say how is it carried out, that means my involvement is gonna make sure I'm tracking everything that's going on and giving you a report. Right now, you don't have that. You don't even have that for the town. You don't have a standard operating procedure nowhere in the whole town for nothing. So I'm.
Well, sure we do. We have for human resources, we have it for finance, but we have step-by-step procedures. To me, those are standard operating procedures. And I'm just saying, and I think that's why I'm sitting here with somewhat of confusion. I see this. I understand that laws already govern us. I understand that, but I'm not seeing this as standard operating procedures. I'm not seeing how it's done. The who calls whom, and it says town department. town departments. And I guess what I'm also not seeing is if the, and I know this is not just Dr. Phillips' charity, it says Dr. Phillips' charities, but I assume if it's the law, it's everyone. So if we have an advisory board and we have this agreement, who do they call?
So who is the advisory board right now?
That's the next step. But my point is,
That's not what she said. She said Dr. Phillips is gonna have an advisory board.
that's what I'm
Who is
saying.
the CRA's advisory board?
But that's what I'm saying.
Look,
You said that.
That's what they are.
We're the advisor.
That's what we're creating.
I don't really.
So then why,
Start creating that. Let's
so
understand.
then why do we need the agreement? If we already know that answer, that's so let me finish what I was saying. If the advisory board wants to set up to come to the council or whatever, give their report. I'm just not seeing how everything is connected. And maybe it's just me, but I'm not seeing this as a standard operating procedure.
Okay, and that's fine, that's fine.
I understand.
But understand this,
I understand.
everything I said, advising, monitoring, coordinating. Those three things. That's all this is all that it's doing. And it's saying, this is how we're gonna do those things. This ain't interfering with nothing y'all talking about. Don't mix the two, because it has nothing to do with that. This has everything to do with your role and responsibility as the agency. I didn't make the agency. Y'all did, 97, the whole town district. So y'all have a responsibility to monitor everything that's going on. You have a responsibility to advise about everything that's going on in the district. You have a responsibility to report back and create a record that you acknowledge whatever's going on. That's all. This is not no complicated thing. It's not to end and cause any interference or nothing that's going on. This is saying this is your role statutorily. This is your role. Am I correct, Attorney?
Yeah, and I mean, I guess, because it's a great question. And I guess it depends on the type of SOP that you're operating up under, because there are different types of SOPs. The SOPs are outlined, what to do if there are legal actions that come against a municipality. But there are also SOPs that are a little more general in nature that just kind of outlines a step-by-step, or may outline for clarification purposes of who's doing what. So I understand that it depends on what level or what type of SOP you're operating up under, but my understanding is this is for clarification purposes, which is what I looked at it from that perspective. If I'm looking at it from the perspective of, if someone walks into town hall and they fall and they injure themselves, what are the steps you take? That is going to be more detailed, because now you have to prepare everyone for, if this happens, this is going to be done. Everything you do from this point forward is in anticipation of litigation. So do this, and this more detail. So that's what I was hearing. But I understand the question of why is there not more detail in this one? But my understanding is that this is a clarification purposes SOP. Is what I'm saying.
To clarify what was said last night, because it's totally, what I'm saying tonight is totally different from what you heard last night.
So I still, and I'm just gonna, I'll leave it at that. But I think I do understand. I guess my thing is, all procedures don't come for full agreement before the council and the CRA. And if this is this is how I see it, that the CRA is doing what it does, that it just seems like this process seems to be so formal. And if this is what should happen, what stops the CRA director from sitting in a town meeting and getting their notes and then just reporting it to the next CRA meeting? Why the agreement before the council and the CRA? Why isn't it just something that happens and you can still have the SOP?
So I hate to do this, Mr. Johnson,
Go ahead.
because he and I don't agree on everything. And let's just get that up front right now. When he called me and asked me about this, his concern was he did not want to make it appear that he was overstepping his bounds. So when hearing what he had to say, he said, I think I need to put together something that shows how the CRA and the town are working collaboratively together. And this is what I put together, and that's when I reviewed it. So from his perspective, and for whatever reason, he feels as if he needs to not give the appearance of stepping on toes. So he wanted to put a procedure together so that anyone can follow that procedure. And I don't want to bring that out in this meeting, because it was kind of a contentious, I don't say contentious, it wasn't contentious, but it was one of those calls where I was like, why are you calling me about this? Type of thing, so.
I got one and a half more. So are there any, and I just got this tonight. I heard about it last night. I just got it tonight. And so I have not read through it. I did see the presentation, but I have not read through it. Are there any components of this document that are not dictated by law? Like, we know that 163 is all up and through here. Are there any non-163 steps that we are willing to take as a board to ensure the reporting, the monitoring, whatever the case is, whatever, are there any flexible steps
So,
in this agreement? Or
so I'm not asking you to prove that as is before you tonight, because the whole idea is to show the town and the CRA working together to make sure whatever's gonna happen, happens, okay? And happen in both parties, the town council side and this side. And that's all that document is there for. It's not to tell nobody what to do.
hands up, don't shoot. Don't shoot. I'm asking because what I would like to know is if changes can be made. So for example, if we say this is the direction that we want to go in, and then the council comes back and says, based off the conversation that we had on Thursday night, we're in favor of this, et cetera. Do we have any wiggle room down the line and say, okay, well, this no longer serves 163, so we're gonna pull this out, or we want to add extra oversight, extra work for ourselves, we're gonna incorporate this in? Do we have that flexibility?
You control any policy that the CRA adopts. I don't adopt policy, I bring it to you to adopt. You can change anything at any time the board feels like, to be consistent with any other changes that flex. It's a flexible document, it's not a concrete document. But we gotta have somewhere to start. Gotta have a place to start at, just can't pull it out of the air.
And don't quote me, and I understand that this is not a council meeting, but I am not counting on my memory right now, but I am under the impression that I heard the term somewhere in the resolution only as it related to oversight. And I just want to clarify that this is a resource, not the whole toolbox.
This spells out our limited involvement. Statutory.
Thank you.
I have a question or whatever, just trying for clarification, so. What I'm having a hard time saying, so I know that this isn't, we're talking kind of like what we dealing with the Dr. Phillips property, so. Tell me, what is this gonna look like for us? Dr. Phillips, they're gonna come say Tuesday, so who, does this document say that the CRA or the USD executive director, so who is gonna be leading this charge in this
No matter
major?
what decisions are made.
What
What
is this table gonna look like?
No matter what.
Is it going, I'm just asking, hold on. I mean, is it gonna involve the CRA attorney? Will it involve the town council's attorney? Like, who is gonna be, tell me,
Okay,
you gotta help.
whatever's on the council side is on the council side.
All right.
Whatever on the agency side is on the agency side. And that's as far as the staff here, the attorney.
Okay.
And we have a responsibility to make sure you as the agency, not us, you as the agency, know everything that is consistent or not consistent with what the statute requires you to do.
So if we adopt this, so that means that like the CAO and the town's attorney, they don't have anything to do with us up here as going forward, and then this whole Dr. Phillips thing is gonna fall on this side? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, it's not. Whatever the town decides to do, that's the town's business. Our job is strictly to chapter 163 and redevelopment activities and to your CRA plan, period. Nothing else. So that was the whole town.
So it says town department, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, I'm just listening and trying to get my life in order.
Please go to section 6, intergovernmental coordination, designated point of contact. And you see 1, 2, 3, 4, OCPS, Dr. Phillips entities, town departments, external agencies as needed. And then it says CRA executive director shall serve as the single point of contact.
I have a single point of contact for the agency.
That's if they need to talk to you. I'm just asking for I'm not,
They don't,
tell me, like you asked, how's that going to look?
okay, so let's say they have all these meetings. Who's coming back telling you as the agency what was decided?
Who has meetings?
any one of these agencies having department meetings or whatever, who gets the information to the CRA board? I'm not talking to the town council. Who gets the information to the CRA board? Who's gonna do that?
You,
Who's going?
Exactly.
Who has been?
That's all.
wanna do that.
I'm the person who does that.
Every time I go to a meeting, I come back with something, and I'm just, you know, I'm just for conversation purposes.
Concrete,
You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
policy.
We are the staff. Y'all are the agency. So let's get that understood. We are staff people who work for the
That's
agency.
why
The board is the agency, not me.
So then that means that we could expect attendance from somebody in administration for the agency at every stakeholder meeting, every
Yeah.
town council meeting,
Well,
school board meeting.
we,
Of
our role is to
department.
monitor any meetings dealing with any redevelopment. And specifically, as that agreement talks about, anything dealing with school property, because you have a responsibility to know what's going on. You're not gonna be, if you wasn't sitting in the audience, would you know?
No, absolutely,
Mr. Williams wasn't at the council meeting, he don't know,
absolutely.
but you're part of the agency. So the only way you can get that is disseminate that information at one time to everybody that's here.
In a nutshell, you should be involved in any and everything concerning development in this town,
To come
because it
back in.
covers the whole ground of Eatonville, CRA.
That's all that
And I'm
document.
just asking because I know that a lot of the times they refrain
think,
from going
like
to
I
those
said, we don't-
meetings.
I don't wanna get too involved with the town part of it, but
I have nothing.
you know, that should have been established a long time ago. You know, with you being involved at the table with anything that, you know, concerns us on the redevelopment part, no matter what. The CAO should be addressing everything you, hey, Mr. Johnson, we got a meeting to go to, not just myself, but you involved also. So I understand the oversight that you're trying, that you're putting in policy here, because it makes perfect sense to me. Because that way we're gonna be able to identify with everything that's going on. Because the MOU, you know, like I said, you know, that's a whole nother, you know, ball game right there. And even with that, that would have already been established to what we need to know also. I think if this already would have been, you know, in place.
Right,
So.
like if this was in place, somebody would have been at the master planning workshops, or
Somebody
somebody would have been
right.
at the stakeholder meetings,
Yeah,
so
we
that
won't never have that
in some
happen.
capacity,
We won't never have that happen.
folks would have been aware.
Right. And then he's gonna be the point man to come back to us and say, hey, listen, this is what's going on.
It's fine by me. I see two staff members in the meeting, so I'm not opposed to it at all. If that means more
And I think he's gonna-
attendance and more exposure, I'm not opposed to
I
that
think
at
it's
all.
gonna protect the town on so you gotta think, we're dealing with interlocal agreement, which I don't agree with. I'm totally against interlocal
You're
agreement.
not told this.
I promise you. It's a great separation that needs to be had, you know, and hopefully we can go in that direction in the near future. Because you can't have two entities. It's almost like you're bumping heads, you know what I'm saying? You gotta have the CRA, which is a whole nother entire entity, and the town is a whole entity, you know what I'm saying? But you can have the town, but you can't have the town without, you can't have the CRA without the town. But you can have the town without the CRA. You know what I'm saying? So we need to make sure that we're establishing all these things and putting all the components in place to make sure that we are following up on anything that could possibly come down the pipeline with these different meetings that are occurring and going on, especially what we're going into now with the Dr. Phillips Charity Foundation or whoever else that we're gonna be involved with. So it's almost like a protection mechanism that we're adding here, which is gonna be great, I think. That, like I said, everybody's gonna be different in opinion. You know what I'm saying? We're not, that's why you have, you know, 7 people sitting up here. Everybody's not gonna agree on everything that you propose. You know what I'm saying? So that's where the votes come in at. Whether you disagree or like it or not, whatever. You know, you vote your intuition on whether you want to vote it up or down and be done with it. Some people gonna like it, some people not gonna like it. Just like the other night. And I don't want to get into that either, but I'm good with it.
As you see, item number 4 on your agenda, that is about us collaborating. That's the administration and the town collaborating to deal with a development.
Right.
This will ensure those processes and that communication is being disseminated, creating transparency.
And that's what we need.
Nobody's operating in the dark about that.
I appreciate everyone explanation and what your comments I don't really see a big problem with this. I'm reading very thoroughly. And I agree, it doesn't really make you over anything, but we do need to have a point of contact to monitor these things and also make a report. This is an enormous project. And I think as time goes on, that if we find anything that we need to include in the SOP that maybe we have overlooked, we can always go back and to amend the SOP.
Anytime. you
Yeah, so my final concern is just making sure that everything has been properly documented. And that it's in its own file and it's easy access. That whoever will have access to look at exactly your inputs on these different issues.
It's all public record.
Yeah, right. So I don't really see a problem with it, and I think it'd be something good. It's a start. This is something that you probably haven't done in a while, and it's probably something that we don't have SOPs, and I agree. Every operation, it doesn't matter what agency, everyone should have a SOP, and everyone should have a SOP of pertaining to what job that they're functionally doing, what you are hired for on a day-by-day basis. So if something happens to you, we have another director coming in, or someone, or the chair, anybody, the mayor or CRO, anyone can access those files and see exactly what are the inputs and what are the things that you covered for to make sure that we're in compliance.
Right.
Because we do have to have this to avoid any risk, that potential risk for an enormous project like this. This is so essential.
Yes.
So I'm on board with this.
Okay, can somebody tell me how does the information get from one side to the other? And I'm not being, please, let me just ask my questions. How do when you're talking about the meetings,
Right, like a
Right.
workshop.
so information, just stakeholders, me, it doesn't matter. Well, just say advisory board from the Dr. Phillips Charities, they have a meeting, right? They come to the town council and give their update. Take me from there. I just want to,
Everything which is presented in the public becomes public record. Therefore, I have access to it, whether I'm there or not. And it's my job to make sure y'all know what's being said and what's being done is consistent with your responsibilities. That's it.
okay.
That's it.
I wish we would have had this established before the other document came out. I think we'd probably be in a better position.
That's it.
No.
You're not voting on anything.
No, no.
I just wanted
Thank
to,
you.
thank you.
Appreciate it, Mr. Johnson.
This participation.
Citizen participation.
Yes, we have one. Michelle Ford. You have 3 minutes.
All right, thank you, my dear. Good evening, everyone. I just got a couple of questions. So just talking about the SOP. So I go to the website, to the bylaws, and this is what it says the purpose is. It's formulated a workable plan for utilizing appropriate public and private resources to eliminate and prevent the development or spread of slum and blight areas within the designated areas of the town. Doesn't say anything about redevelopment, nothing in there. So you might want to look at the bylaws. Also, they were just amended on April the 7th by Mr. Washington. I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson. It also goes in there to say what your responsibilities are. It even goes in there to say that if his office is vacant, the executive director's office is vacant, then it will go to the chair will act in that way. Which, by the way, I also have some concerns about that, but I'm gonna get to that. So I think that SOP is unnecessary if it was just amended the bylaws. And it's ironic that we wanna do this SOP after the Dr. Phillips did. That's just me. But let me get on to my next point. Now, I see on the CRA website, there was a response to the school board decision. Who approved that? Because it's Mr. Johnson's name on it. Was that approved by the CRA board? Was it approved by the town council? Because when you put something on a website, it's presumed that it was approved. So that's my one question. The other one is, should it have been posted if it was not approved by the council? The other thing that I have is, I noticed that the last meeting you were talking about merit pay, okay? If you look at the comptroller's auditing filings in 2019, there was a problem when Mr. Johnson did compensation for 4 employees. And the Florida statute states clearly provides that no extra compensation shall be made to any employee after the service has been rendered. So I thought I read that it said it was going to do back pay to October. So I think you guys might want to reconsider and look at that merit pay. Also, it says that there should be policies labeled out as to what is the qualification. Because someone on the town side could come and say, well, that's discrimination. There's no policy in place for that. And that was one of the findings from Orange County Comptroller's Office. My other concern that I would like for you guys to look at is, remember when it was the up development, they wanted to purchase the property, right? I looked through all the minutes. I don't see anything where the CRA was trying to get involved in that deal. In fact, what I did find was that a lot of the council people were in favor. That was like a 9.5 million deal the town was gonna get. In fact, Councilman Madden, you thank Orange County Public School Board for being the decision makers in the process because we received a better deal. So I think we might want to look at our past minutes.
That didn't go through because of other
So
things
you
that
said you
happened.
were in favor of it. Thank you.
Was it?
You were in
Yeah,
favor.
of course, I was. I
For
was.
$9.5 million.
It was more than that.
We got move on. Thank you.
It was more than that, but we appreciate you.
That's our last presenter.
All right, thank you. The next item is the consent agenda, but before I ask you to approve it, I just want to make clear that we understand that any employment has to go through the procurement process. Tell me if I'm wrong,
Yeah, yes.
attorney.
Correct.
So I know that we have a name on this, but even on the town side, we have to advertise for the position. I mean, we have
Have you read,
procedures.
have you read the resolution?
Pardon?
Have you read the resolution?
I just looked at that there's a name to hire someone for services.
The resolution is, and under the emergency provisions, you can vote and make whatever decision they want.
So I guess then my question would be, can the board, and I'm sure I probably know the answer, can the board do emergency hires in written policy? Or do you need to get back?
Let me get this, I've seen it done another way, and I want to compare it against that. Okay, I can have your response, I can have a response, this evening, as a matter of fact, it won't take you long.
Okay, so we have a resolution in the consent agenda.
Chair, while we have this downtime, can you just confirm the minutes are from December 18th for the record?
The minutes are from December 18th, 2025. Okay, so what do we do with item 4?
Move it to board decision.
Item 4 will be moved to board decisions pending clarification. So this consent agenda is for items 1, 2, and 3. Is there a motion?
Good.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. All right, consent agenda has been approved.
For clarity, who motioned?
I did
And I second.
Thank you.
not second.
That second, thank you all.
The next item, I'm gonna go ahead and go to the discussion, the school board and FDOT, and I'll give you some more time. Attorney, okay.
That item is on the agenda for the board to discuss, not the administration. If anybody had any discussion they wanted to bring first, the redevelopment portion of our involved.
If there's no discussion,
Move on.
On DOT part?
We're on the discussion.
Have any way in on any discussion dealing with those issues, Now's the time to do it.
What is the DOT issue? I didn't have any important documents in mind.
I just know back in the past, when the school was sold that property to FDOT, and Roger Dixon, he was the CEO at the time. He talked to them and he had them to move their retention farther back and leave that property up front for development. And I think it's some type of agreement he had with them. I don't know, he's just in the office somewhere, but he did have a conversation of them moving the retention farther back up Wymo Road, because it would have been closer to the road and it was taking up prime development property. And that's one of the reasons they moved it back where it is now. So we need to find those documents. I'll give it to Mr. Dixon and find out if they give us the rights to purchase the property or we use the property, something like that. I don't know, but I know that was the reason. One of the conversations he had with Florida Department of Transportation with the piece of property they purchased. But I was mad that the Florida Department of Transportation came back and wanted more water land from the town because we already gave them 2 bar pits for I-4. So I definitely disagree with that, them coming in, but I know he did talk to him about moving that. So
Yeah, that was a big issue.
yeah, so I will definitely see can we do have the records of that with Florida Department of Transportation, get with them, see they have the records of that conversation.
I don't have records, obviously, for that, and I don't have the contract, but the last contract with, the last developers for that land, it had that piece of land addressed in there. And I'm going by memory, and I believe the agreement was that if they purchased that land, that they had the opportunity to purchase the piece that you're speaking of as well.
Different piece.
So if that's the case, then that would mean that there's no other claims to it. If that answers your question, we
You know, just need to find out.
and I think it's in this one too.
I think what's important, their DOP piece is it's an enclave. To the left of it's in the city limits, to the right of it's in the city, but it's not.
Yeah.
So I would hope that that property is then next consistent to the town. Because that piece is not.
That's something we need to look into.
And basically we create another enclave in the process. So no matter who gets it, it needs to be annexed into the town.
Right.
No matter who's doing it.
So who's gonna look into it? I'm just, y'all gotta help me follow this whole thing. Because I noticed we talk a lot up here, but there's not any follow what happens here, so y'all help me, please. Who looks into issues of this? Who does that?
Annexations are city issues. So it'll be the mayor and the CEO.
Since I don't have that contract in front of me, I'm almost positive that land is a part of the current agreement, but it would have to be need to be a question that can be asked. And I'll make sure that it is asked.
And then how would we know and when will we?
Well, if you sign I'll have the CAO send an email to
Yes.
you. That's what I'm saying now, but if we think of another way to get it to you, then it'll be maybe part of the report in the meeting.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You're right.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I just wanted to just double check and just look, only because there was a term that was thrown in that's not necessarily applicable to the statute, which is emergency hire. Just referring to 163.356, subparagraph C, where it talks about the governing body, this is the creation of the community redevelopment agency. But it states that an agency may employ an executive director, technical experts, and such other agents, employees, permanent, temporary, as it requires and determines their qualifications, duties, and compensation. So under that provision, it would appear that the agency can hire temporary or permanent employee on a temporary or permanent basis.
Okay, so then we go back to the procedures, because that's not emergency. Temporary
Right.
is for a limited period of time. And that's also covered in the HR policies and procedures. So it's still going to be the same. So then for me, I just will make certain that however we would do it anywhere else, then it wouldn't apply in this process. I'm not sure how, we move forward.
Is that?
With that resolution.
Does that include the interlocal agreement, like, by any chance?
Right,
HR is covered.
I would actually go yield to
It
the,
was
Is that a part of the
central.
interlocal agreement? Or is it just the town thing? For what's like,
Mr. Jackson.
So I was just made aware of something that I was not made aware of, that the town council's already approved this on their side. Is that,
And that's why I brought it up, because the town council has limited authority as well. And I'm just saying, this came up when we needed the attorney. Do you remember that? This came up with it wasn't temporary, it's the contract for the CRA. It's the same process. I'm not changing anything here, but there is a process and procedure for procurement. This is not new. So whether it's on the council side, whether it's on the CRA side, it's the same. When I heard about it, I also spoke to the CAO about it as well. So it's the same thing. I'm just making sure that I'm letting the CRA know, because I did speak with the CAO. I reminded him when I spoke with him.
yeah, I wasn't aware, well, I heard about an action last night. I wasn't sure of the particular of the action until Mr. Johnson said it.
Yeah.
and that was because me and the CEO met and agreed that's how it would be done.
So you can vote on the resolution, you can approve it, but in regards to follow through, it's going to be according to whatever the HR policy is for temporary hires.
Because, a portion of what's being paid has to come from the CRA side, so you all have to agree to that.
Right.
Just because on the town side they say that the CRA is going to pay half, doesn't mean that the CRA is going to agree to pay half unless this resolution goes through.
So then I think that if this goes for vote, then it has to go for vote for the idea of hiring someone in that position, knowing that it needs to be put out for advertisement.
So based upon the statute you just read, we have to make sure we delineate away from what the town, we should not never have any conversation about what the statute, what the town's doing. All right. This board can hire anybody for technical positions per the Florida statute. Period. Anybody. They can grab Johnny So Sue off the street and say, we want you to sweep the district. And if they do that, that's the board say they can do it, they can do it. Ultimately, y'all are responsible for the trust fund, the CRA plan, and compliance to Florida statute. Those are three things I just said.
From my perspective.
And by the way, the CRA has its own policy and procedure. Now, we only require to follow the procurement process. This is not a procurement.
Right.
We're procuring services.
the great separation.
What am I missing?
Could you read the statute again? Just read it.
Well, not even the step, but from my perspective, from my reading, the CRA has to approve this in order for the monies to go forward for what the town has decided.
That's
So
right.
the CRA has to do it from this side. Now, in terms of this person coming on board, I'm assuming the town is gonna do that part, and the CRA has retained his services and paying for his services based on what the statute says. But the other part is already being undertaken by the town, is my understanding. I don't get on the town side. I just know that the CRA.
And I'm not asking, that's why I brought
Right.
it up, because it's here on the
Right.
consent agenda, and it only works if both pieces
Right.
work together. And in regards to the administration of this process, it goes through the HR, that's on the town side.
Right, yeah. And I'm
So,
saying, yeah.
and I'm just saying that we're gonna follow that, whatever that is. So if temporary says we can appoint whomever, then fine. But if it doesn't and we need to advertise, I'm just saying ahead of time, then we're gonna go through that process.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
This is only before you because the CEO said it was fine to do last night and it's fine to do tonight.
Yes,
So-
I can only go by what this board is allowed to do by the statute. My understanding is that this is to ensure that the CRA is going to in fact be responsible for half of that.
Have the fun.
That's, the other part about how you get there once the services are procured, because I hope Mr. Johnson is going to grab someone off the street to sweep anything, but to that extent, the CRA can hire from that perspective, but the policy that's going to be followed, I'm going to leave that to the town.
So the motion then would be for resolution approval of resolution CRA R 2026-4 consultant service agreement with the understanding that it will abide by policies and procedures for HR. I don't know about that.
That's necessary.
That's not necessary, okay. Cause isn't it, maybe I'll say the other one has to be one. Okay,
Yeah, cause we shouldn't even be associating the town in it anyway. Period. Cause it's a whole, we can't even think about town issues, really, to be honest with you. And we are doing that.
okay.
That's it's totally different. Whatever we decide to do as a board, we deal with it now. And then on the town side, we'll deal with that at hand. We can't associate the town and the business of the board with the CRA. We can't do that.
So, and this resolution does have a name on it.
That's fine, because that's the person who the town has approved. Well, we're gonna go get another name from somewhere that the town has no.
Who that last night? We were-
So I'm just gonna state this for the record. We'll go through the process. And if you hire this person, fine. This person will be, if this person is hired, then this person will be chosen among the other applicants. However you do it, but whatever that process of the SOPs
That's
are.
what we have to do. That's what we'll go.
I have questions. Can we put the motion up?
All right. So that was the motion. I don't,
What was the
it
motion?
wasn't-
Because you said a lot.
First off, she hasn't.
Okay.
I'll read the preamble. Resolution CRA 2026-4, a resolution of the Town of Eatonville Community Redevelopment Agency authorizing the shared funding of development consulting and advisory services provided by Matthew Lawrence and or his affiliated company, approving a 50% cost share with the Town of Eatonville, providing for conflict, severability, and an effective date.
You have heard the preamble. Is there,
Now, what's the motion?
You gotta make the motion, any other question.
Because that's, because.
Can I finish?
I know you spoke a lot. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish.
a motion?
Second.
Which question? I'll start. Okay, so again, sitting in the meeting last night, I wasn't sure what was going on. There wasn't any documentation to support it prior to walking in the door. So again, just so I understand, because there was a lot that was just said, the way that the resolution reads, it makes it seem like the CRA entered into this agreement, not the town. And what I heard on the town side was an agreement to share the cost. But this does sound like our agreement, correct?
We're agreeing to pay 50% of the cost of the employee that they hired.
Yeah, we did that last night. We agreed.
That's all.
Right, agree to something that incorporates the CRA without a discussion on the CRA board prior to that agreement.
Yeah, but it's
So
up to this board to.
Right,
Well,
which is
well,
after the fact.
Let's stop. No, that, prior to anything, me and the CEO agreed to do this. This is the CEO and me talking how we gonna pay for this and work this out. So what's before you is already been through the administration oversight to come to you now. We couldn't do this without them acting first.
Understood. So my question is not about if the cart went before the horse. My question is about the way the resolution reads that the agreement has been entered with the CRA.
Because we're spending our money, we have to have an agreement justifying why we're spending the money.
So then there's a complementary resolution on the town side that lists that agreement with him as well, which is complementary to this agreement. Okay, thank you. And then my next question is, if the town decided that they wanted to do something, why is the CRA responsible fiscally for that? Even if the conversation is, we spoke with administration, we agreed that this might be a cost-efficient way to handle this. Why are we on the hook for that? For example, if, and I get that we have a option tonight, right? I get that we can
Right.
choose tonight. So and I did hear last night that if we did not agree to go forward, then the town would have to eat the other 12.5. So I'm under the understanding of that. I just want to know why would be, I'm assuming that that would have to, the way you said it, it would have to have been put into place administratively before it could even come before the board.
And it was.
Right. Last night. Before
This is what happened this meeting.
it just so happened y'all was meeting. So again, so if there would not have been a special meeting last night,
It would have been on.
then it would have came before us tonight.
No, it wouldn't.
No.
No, so then, so it would have went before council on
And then came
Tuesday
to us.
and then came back. Okay, that's all I wanted.
Yeah.
Thank y'all, appreciate y'all. Thank you. I just was curious as to why the CRA was being put on the hook for something that the CRA had not yet discussed. But if administratively that has been worked out, I'm not opposed to that. My responsibility as board director, especially as it pertains to the budget, is to have a discussion with y'all first and then give you the direction so that you can administratively do what you needed to do. So I just wanted to know standard operating procedure,
And
that we did what we were supposed to do as a board.
Can I offer a suggestion, because I am reading this, and I think that one thing that may aid with that, because it does sound as if the CRA has entered into a contract before they came here. And I understand why it's written that way, but instead of saying, whereas the CRA has entered into a development consultancy service agreement with, I think that it should change it to say the CRA desires to join a development consultant service agreement.
I love it.
The town
I
of
love it.
Eatonville and Matthew Lawrence instead of that way.
And that's what I was asking. That terminology makes it look like we put the cart before the horse. Like we said, we'll do this and didn't talk as a board, right? Like if I had a conversation with Mr. Johnson that I thought was a good idea and I sent him over to Mr. Daniels to have a conversation, would that not undermine y'all's authority to make that decision, to have a discussion about it? To say, hey, I see that because I listened to the presentation last night after Councilwoman Director Randolph was able to get him on the Zoom. And I even heard how supportive Attorney Shepherd was of it. So it's not like it's a bad idea, but it almost begs the question, what if Lawrence Matthew had been somebody that I had been in conversation with and wanted the board to consider? Would we have had that opportunity to discuss that prior to putting the council on the spot to say, hey, y'all make a decision not based off of this and we ain't talking to nobody else, especially the board, knowing that y'all have authority over here as
But it's our
well?
discretion though, and I think we move forward, we're doing what I think the best thing for the town.
Absolutely. I agree with that, but this wording, the wording is what caught me.
Can we amend, can we amend we'll bring you back the amended language, but you can vote on it tonight, subject to the amended.
As amended.
Yeah, but that's gotta be associated, and because she said a lot.
The attorney will have the amended language in there, and that will be the official document that's being signed by, has to be executed.
Yeah,
Language.
as long as it's amended, we're fine.
Yeah, because I know that in order for them to enact what they wanted to do last night, this has to go forward. So I understand that. I guess the wording. So thank you.
You can vote it up and down.
As long as I understand.
Yeah.
It makes sense, man.
Oh, yeah, makes no doubt.
Please.
Can we also add a caveat or? Sure we can.
We're not getting caught in the town's process. That's the town's process.
What if Lawrence walks away? The idea here is that you want a development consultant. Am I correct? That's the main, no, I'm
I
asking.
don't know, I don't know what the town.
And you want to provide the money structure for it.
Yes, ma'am.
But what if they walk away? So it seems to me, with this development group or chosen or something, whatever it is, selected.
So something happened last night. That necessitated this particular resolution, if it was, but because that happened, now this has to,
Okay,
and I hate to say has to clarify what happened last night, but that's.
okay, that's fine. I get it. All right, that being said, I think that's the last item.
We had a special meeting last night.
We're ready
If you
for
wasn't aware.
it. Please stop.
I'm just, I didn't know if you know it or
Please stop.
not. No, I'm
At
just,
this point,
chair.
Anyway,
I'm
we're
just saying,
ready for
because I didn't know if you know it or not.
we're ready for reports.
We had a special
It's
meeting.
gonna
last
be
night.
done. It's handled. It's handled. We're gonna move on. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, nay. We're ready for board discussions. Staff reports, director.
Just to bring everybody up to date with the grant from Orange County for the 307 billion project. They're finalizing um, grant agreement. So that's one of the reasons I said we need to have a special session. So if they get that to me over the next week, approve it and get it back. We did have to make some corrections because under our UIE number, which is how you apply for federal grants and all that stuff. For some reason, the county was using the counties, but it's a CRA grant. So we had to wait because our UIE number had expired, so we had to wait to get it reestablished to give to them to include it in the grant agreement and get all that stuff cleared up. So we're good. Everything's moving forward with that particular grant, and as soon as we get the agreement, you'll be asked to ratify the agreement so we can move forward and get started. That's still an advantage. I know the attorney's gonna talk to you guys about the lease purchase contract that was approved. And I'm gonna wait to him to do that. I know there's been many questions by many board members about the help CDC rebuild together. I'm trying to say a nice word, but it's about
Collaboration.
right, that was supposed to be going on servicing our residents. I have a meeting next week with the new regional person that includes Eatonville. There is 18 applicants that are gonna get funded. I just don't have the names. I have them next week, who those 18 people are, and they want to do more. So, because they just got their new funding and they're ready to get started and their focus wants to be in Eatonville. So we're gonna be having another housing thing again without help CDC. It's just probably with Orange County and rebuild together and the other housing collaboratives that we can bring in. Because now we don't have to go to them as an intermediary. We have direct contact and we can get direct results and be able to give out information accurately. So that process is moving forward. Also, I do want to thank Seacoast Bank. They're supporting our Biz Boost program. They gave us $10,000 last month and actually met today. What day that was? Check, I'm sorry.
Yesterday.
We met yesterday with them and they want to do a little bit more, but they're trying not to get in the weeds of what we're trying to do. Okay, so there's a lot of things going on. As far as the housing concerned, because I know when we get started. Well, today, unbeknownst to me, even though there was a permit for the first house supposedly submitted correctly and reviewed by Tara and approved, somewhere we couldn't find any of the documents today in the CL. We looked for them, they're nowhere in there. We're trying to track down that to get that cleaned up so we can get started and make sure that Universal's doing their part to get us a permit to get started. The 140 bill, had a great meeting yesterday with myself and the CAO and Nick Abrams from One Part Health Foundation. There's a lot of collaborative efforts being put to make sure our senior center is state of the arts and accommodate multiple uses to provide services that reaches across all boundaries for health and wellness for seniors. So that's all I have to.
That's right.
Thank you, Dr. Chair. So this board, at last month's meeting, you all authorized me to enter into negotiations or to, at the very least, present an offer to the owner of the 426 East Kennedy Boulevard property. This board asked me to present an offer of $500,000, which I did to the property owner. The initial response from the owner was not very favorable, and I did share that with Mr. Johnson, shared that with this board. The owner and I, we have since had some additional conversations, and dare I say, some meaningful conversations. As you all may recall from the communications, his initial response was that he would sell the building for nothing less than $1 million. Starting on Monday, I spoke to the owner, and he has agreed to the terms to sell the building for $500,000. The only thing that he has asked, because I think a part of it, based on some evaluation or an evaluation, not some, but an evaluation by Mr. Johnson, is that the closing period would be extended for 9 months. The owner has asked that instead of 9 months, he doesn't want to wait that long. He wants to close on it as a normal or a standard commercial property sale. which means that the property would close within or at a period of about 90 days. So he has agreed to sell the building for $500,000. He has just asked that the CRA can shorten the terms so that the deal can be done sooner rather than later. I will say that he has indicated that if this particular portion doesn't go forward, that he's going to put it up for public sale. I don't know what that does. Talk to me outside if you want to get my personal view about what's going to happen in terms of valuation of that property, but not here. Thank you.
And I think it's important that the board understands that June 30th is our cutoff date to have something built. There is no way in commercial construction period, if this lingers for another month, there's no way that date is gonna be able to meet that time. There is a grant that I really don't want to talk publicly about it, so I talk to each one of you individually about it. And even if we're funded, it's not gonna happen until July. So his ask is really not in line with what we're trying to do and how we're trying to do.
So I guess our next question, ask him, could he wait until July?
I can pose that question if the board gives me direction to do so.
I think that's something that we need to do.
And that's whatever the board decides, the attorney's ready to do that. I'm letting him handle all the negotiations.
Yeah,
And this is why we're having this special meeting.
because we don't know that we're gonna reach the 90-day, part of, possibly selling it. And he said he wanna publicly sell it. Hopefully he doesn't, but I think we definitely need to, ask him the question until, could he wait till July 1st? And
I would say July, whatever the last day of July is, because we don't know the money gonna be released on July.
so it'll be July sometime before the end of July.
Yes.
So we can ask him that. So we're looking at probably about 6 months.
Can I ask the board for clarification on this point? In asking him to extend to July, is there any consideration of earnest money that this board would be willing to put on?
That's a good question. Because right now, we're only obligating ourselves to $100.
That's what the deal was for $100.
Right.
Yeah, that's what you agreed upon, right?
No, he hasn't
He didn't
agreed.
agree.
Oh, you didn't agree with that?
He agreed to the purchase price.
I think as a recommendation to the board, first of all, the lease purchase says close up to September 30th. So at any time from July 1 to September 30th, we can close. I think it's very reasonable to put down an escrow deposit if that's what we're gonna do. If it's the intent of the board to close, I don't think that's too far-fetched to put down an escrow.
What does that look like?
We've been doing $5,000 to everybody else.
Yeah, if he's in agreement with that, and his board in agreement with it, I think that'd be something that would be, a good idea.
That shows good faith.
Right, and then, of course, that'll probably let him know that we're serious about, and let him know he's serious also.
Can I ask a question of this board and of the executive director, Mr. Johnson? Would this board consider as earnest money on this particular property so that you can lock it down and nail it down and escrow up to $50,000?
Yeah, because we're gonna pay him anyway.
He gonna get it in.
Yeah, so I don't see any problem with that because that's gonna put us in a better situation. He can't walk away with that money. If he do, we have to give it back to us. So I think it'd be a great idea.
I don't want to speak out of turn, but
Because he's speaking about selling it publicly, on the outside, and I don't wanna see that happen either,
If we're gonna do that amount, if the board's gonna agree to that amount, we have to mandate it's our escrow agent, not his.
As long as he's aware of that.
I would ask that you guys, whatever motion y'all gonna entertain and deal with that issue, that you make sure you say is to use the CRA escrow agent who has handled all our real estate acquisitions.
So by you guys personally dealing with him the way you do, you think you'll be in agreement with that?
So I've been personally dealing with Mr. Brown. We have our ups and we have our downs. And so I think that he fully understands who I am now, as well as I think that I fully understand who he is. I speak to him as I would speak to any other professional, to make it very clear as to what what needs to happen in order for this to take place. The only reason why I say that is because when he told me, that he wants to work with and to get this, deal done, and it's fair to him as well as fair to this board, I believed him, after my conversation with him on Monday, as well as the conversation that I had with him earlier today.
Yeah, I think, if we could, I think just for, as far as the town's sake, if that's something that we can do in protecting, this, very precious, particular ground right here, opposed to him going outside, if he doesn't agree with us and possibly send it to someone else, you know what I'm saying, that'd be, disheartening too. So I think if we can probably come to, to the agreement that you guys said with the 50,000, and hopefully he does, confirm that he wanna do that, I think that'd be a win-win for everybody.
So
The
could you,
board agree with that? I mean,
if before the board have a conversation, could you form that in a motion so they can make sure they move the motion the way it needs to be said? And then they can go through their process.
Well, I guess, is that an action that the board wishes to take at this time to give direction?
Allow the attorney to amend the existing agreement.
I definitely think we, like,
So now that's for-
we definitely need to.
Can we continue discussion before we?
So I can formulate a motion for Madam Chair, if you like.
I mean, the discussion that is happening as a part of your report.
Okay, well, I was gonna say, if it's in a motion, that you want to discuss in a motion, or discuss that now? Because you can do whatever you want to and ask any questions, this is just my report.
If that motion.
Yeah, but I think I would prefer the informal conversation versus the motion. So if you'll just entertain, and really it's not even a question. If you could just give another quick rundown, and fill in whatever blanks I'm missing. We offered 5,000, he's amenable to it. We're considering an EMD, or 500,000, excuse me. He's amenable to it. We're considering 50,000 as an earnest money deposit. We're set to close if we move forward when?
You keeping that up to May, July.
Up to
July.
the end of July. And this does what to our grant responsibility?
What do you mean?
How does this affect our grant responsibility if we go ahead, because we're waiting till the end of July to
The
close?
problem is we have to have site control to be able to get to where we need to be.
Right,
Right, so to be honest with you, once the shell is built, the valuation is built. Right now, the valuation is not.
so our deadline of June 30th.
We'll make it.
July 30.
If he agrees to these terms tonight, we'll make it.
So the contract gives us the site control, or the recording of the deed gives us the site control?
So the contract will give you site control.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to figure out. If we ain't closing till July and it's due, then we a month out. Okay,
That's why we're
so,
doing these purchases, to establish site control, so we can move the grant and everything forward.
so we are moving forward with the lease purchase as well as a response to his counter.
Yes.
The county, the county.
We can continue in formal motion, informal fashion about like.
Agree with those terms.
I assume we still have the 250,000 because we said we are gonna send that back.
We haven't seen it.
So you have done.
No, I just gotta do the quarterly report. They just sent it to me today to complete the quarterly report.
I only know the legal steps here.
So when that amount has been distracted, how much would it be in the account?
When you say how much again?
Yeah, when you said between,
Hold on, that sheet.
you get to send like 213 or something of that nature.
Give me one quick second.
So what happens to the $1 million?
It never was $1 million. You only received 250 so far.
We got to go through the rest of the process to get that.
Right.
Okay. I know she sent me the bank balance. We just probably talked about it.
Are we still waiting?
No, it's like $1.8 million or something like that. That's the thing.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and go with, you can update that.
And I'll send that to you guys so y'all have it.
All right, Vice.
You finished the report?
Oh, did you finish?
Would this board like to formulate a motion, in order to take that action?
The chair would have to.
Do you need a?
No, I'm done. We can go.
As a motion, Madam Chair, what I would suggest is that that the motion be that this board authorizes the Tokar attorney to contract or to draft a contract with a purchase price of $500,000 and earnest money of up to $50,000 in order to purchase the property located at 426 East Kennedy Boulevard, and any affiliate properties.
I would use the term amend the existing lease purchase agreement. Right, okay. Amended, that way you know.
All right, so I would ask that the motion be that the board allow the Tokar attorney to amend the existing lease purchase agreement for the purchase of the property for for $500,000 with earnest money of up to $50,000 for the purchase of the property located at 426 East Kennedy Boulevard and any associated properties.
14 West Street is the other part.
Okay, so I say any associated properties.
You've heard the motion. You've heard, is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
I do have, I didn't add it, 'cause you have to start over again. Do we care if this is transferred? If he transfers this contract, do we care?
So within the lease purchase agreement, it is not.
It's not assignable, okay,
It's
I
not
will make sure.
assigned.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded, all in favor, say aye. Aye, all opposed. All right, Vice, that was it? Did you have an amount for?
It's 1,800,000 something.
I had no question. Everybody have a good night.
It's in, it should be in your,
The email with the December financial.
Okay,
Did
Did you hear that?
What now?
that was board member Randolph was asking that question for the.
Yeah, the county had, I'm assuming the county had not processed that check. That was sent to them.
Okay,
That's why I saw it.
okay.
Director Matt,
Well, like always, thank everybody for coming out, being engaged in CRA, agency, work. And, I just wanna give Director Johnson, his props for, just, having a vision to move forward, with doing things that's gonna be, like-minded, hopefully, that gonna move forward, in this community. And not saying that he's gonna be, controlling things, because that's not the fact. And I'm glad he was able to give us some clarity on that. That was one of the reasons that I tabled the item last night. While we can have some clarity before moving to this meeting right here, but neither here nor there. Thanks for your leadership. Hopefully we can go in a positive direction to make sure that we're successful in this community. And let's understand that CRA covers the entire town of Eatonville, so let's make sure that we're keeping that and being mindful of everything that's associated with that. And that's my report, y'all. That's not.
No report.
all right, and that was Director Jordan. Director Randolph.
Okay, Mr. Johnson,
Yes, ma'am.
so I had mentioned a couple of weeks ago that, I was approached about the address on 41 Lincoln Street, about the septic tank.
I would want to talk to you independently because there's some missing documentation. And it's not, that happened before me, and I tried to get everything. So
What's basically,
can't find the resolution number. I can't find
because I
anything.
know,
I can't find anything that the board actually took action on. I can't find it.
because I know it was something that was approved.
No, it wasn't approved.
No,
That's probably why it's not in
it
there.
wasn't approved because it was some issues with the ownership of the property.
So that's the only now?
But
Yes.
the problem was brought to my
So that's the only
attention.
issue that we had, right, that the ownership.
It was brought to my attention that the situation is still doing, in the same condition. About the
I did
sewer.
speak to the public works director.
Yes,
Two things. First of all, that's not what she told me. She said the issue was fixed. And then she told me about how when they run the new lines, laterals and all that stuff, that is gonna be done for everybody on the street. And the other thing she said, the quote that she originally gave, she is not verifying that because times have changed, time has changed. So that number's not right. So we're working to address what you asked first and make sure we got the proper documentation before we ask you to take any action.
okay, but what kind of documentation? Because the packet was already turned in.
Well, it's not in there. It's not in our office. So, and I've spoken to the Mr. O'Hara, I think his name.
Yes.
I've spoken to him, and we have some other options that we can do without us having to spend our money. So let me work that out.
Are they doing repairs on our streets? You still? Lateral?
They're gonna be upgrading the laterals and all that stuff.
Oh, so that'd be.
Yeah, but the issue is that the family, let me finish, please, thank you. The family is saying that they're still spending money out of their pockets to get this thing resolved. But I think at some point, we need to use some funds for emergency repair under that, program that we have, so that way we can resolve this, because that is an environmental issue. So I don't know.
The money was available, but the only problem that we had is that he didn't have ownership, but she's indicating that he has ownership now,
He
right?
does have now.
So being that the money is there, right? I don't see any reason why we can't.
I'm not saying you cannot do it. I said I need to gather all the information, so when you vote, you're voting on something that is, because you gotta have 3 bids. You still gotta go through that even with the program. Right? You still have to do it unless this board at the time you get the information say, no, we declaring this an emergency.
And I think it is.
If you declare an emergency, it has to be tied to a code violation.
Is it under a code?
Yes,
No,
it's
it's not.
sewage.
No,
We're
it's
dealing
not.
with sewage.
It's not a code violation.
And that's even more problematic, because now we're talking about code enforcement.
Well,
But that's a whole,
that's why I said, let me get it all together for you guys. And I don't have a problem with the board authorizing anything. I just said, we don't have the documentation today to make a decision. And it would be dirty on my part to you make a decision.
when we be able to have the
Well,
document?
first off, we gotta get 3 quotes for the service to see what it's gonna cost.
How soon can we do that?
Ms. Valerie said she was already reaching out.
I think we need to call for a special meeting or emergency
Okay,
meeting.
well, if I would have known that ahead of time, I really would have, because you told me, okay.
I told you okay without talking to her, and when I talked to her today about it, she told me that was the situation. I asked for the documentation, nobody's.
How about if we do this? All the documentation that need to be had,
I can bring it back to the board on
Right.
special session.
let's have a special or emergency, because I think it's emergency anytime you're dealing with sewage in this community.
It's not on the town side, it's qualified. Their issue is not on the town side.
I know, but it's within our town though that they're having an issue with. And I know it's them personally, right?
And I'm gonna tell you.
And then you gotta think, they qualified for the program. The only thing that stood in the way was him not being ownership. And I know they went through a lot of extreme measurements to make sure that happened. So it's happened. So I think we need to move forward with having an emergency meeting. You provide the documents that we need to be able to make our decision.
The information should be in that packet even on our website. The documents are there. Because you told me that it was under another number. I gave you the resolution number
And I
2024.
told you that the resolution number was not correct, so I didn't know what
But you
resolution.
say that you found it.
No, I never told you I found
You did?
it. No, I never.
Told me that you found it.
No.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with what y'all asked me to do. I just said, let me get everything together and bring it to you.
But how long that's gonna take though?
We can have a special session next week. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It's up to the
Okay,
board. I just need to get the information together.
Yeah,
And we gotta have 3 quotes. So as fast as we can get 3 quotes, we
right.
do it. But I do wanna, listen, I do wanna warn the board. This side of I-4 and the Florida laws dealing with septic tanks is one thing. That side of I-4 is something totally different. So I want you to be cognizant that if you're gonna replace somebody's septic system, it may be costly.
No, but it's already been,
It may not be what you think it's gonna be. It may be extremely
but
costly.
it's not tied to the septic tank. It's not. It's ready to be tied to the town. It has nothing to do with the septic tank. That's the problem that he's having.
What exactly are you asking us to fix the problem? Or are you asking us to hook them up to the city system? Because if you're asking me to hook them up to the city system, that's a town thing. That's not what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, but she came to
But
the
I think
CRA, they came to the CRA for funding, for help. That's what happened.
Mrs. Kathy Mills did, right? But I'm just trying to tell you, we have to make sure procedurally we do things the right way. And I don't want the CRA money to be used for something that the town I'm gonna give you an example. Let me tell you, because Miss Valerie told me. Right now, Mr. Vereen and his next door neighbor system is tied together. Mr. Vereen has agreed for the separation of that, and he's gonna he'll pay installment payments to pay it off. Right, to catch it up, and so to make sure whatever the town do to fix the problem, because it's on his side, it's on their side of the sidewalk. We have to be careful that's why let me and Ms. Valley work this out and then make a recommendation to you guys. I mean,
Yeah, we can do it as soon as possible.
I wanna,
That's
sit there and
definitely-
tell you
Because
to
I
do
thought you
something.
pulled some of those programs when you got here because they were out of compliance with
Well,
the plan,
I
and
know
we
what you said.
revamped those programs.
What he said in the emergency.
Wait, let's one conversation, please.
What I hear is they're looking at this as an emergency code violation. So two things. If raw sewage is backing up, whatever, and that is a code violation, I may talk this through. And
Right.
I would just tell him to write it up, so that starts what you're trying to accomplish. We
Right.
need to make sure all the paperwork is aligned to what we say in the program and its responsibilities. I'm not saying you can't do it.
Yeah,
I
because
just
it's
wanna
been
make sure
about,
we.
maybe about a year and a half, ago.
That's all.
Especially if other resources are available to assist as well.
So
And then Mr. O'Hara has had that conversation.
since we're not voting on that, right?
Yeah, she was in the middle of her report, I'm sorry.
She said that was it. She said that was it. So, I mean, this point is not gonna vote on, would you
Yeah,
please
so
get
just
with
begin to get it.
Director Randolph?
Well, let me ask a question. Can we vote on this to approve the project and then we get the documentation later? Or you want to get all the documentation first?
I wouldn't advise you to do that because you don't.
Is that program still available?
I just explained to you how, yeah, I just explained it how, and then y'all can do it.
All right, just do what you gotta do, contact us, and when you contact us, then we'll move forward, we're having a special meeting, doing it on the next, well, we don't wanna wait that long,
It
but,
won't be in February, you'll get it.
yeah,
If I
let's
can
do
get it
something,
before our
man,
special
to be able to
session.
help these people out if we can, you know what I'm
I'm gonna
saying?
try.
If
I'm
we
gonna try
can,
every way legally
Yeah.
possible.
because I know we've been dealing with this matter for a while.
All right, is that it?
Any report?
Oh, I'm sorry, Director.
You don't have. Sorry, go ahead. So, I'm glad you mentioned rebuilding together. I've had a couple of constituents that have inquired about if we're still, participating with that. So it's good to hear that that is coming back to life. I can't wait to see what the renovations look like. I'm telling you, we're gonna be on the slideshow at FRA next year. And then as well as the update on Club Eaton, glad to hear about that because I know that there are some things that are happening in the town that we're trying to gear up for. So having that inventory actually in position to be utilized makes a difference. It finally starts to look like it's about to happen versus us consistently talking about it. So I'm glad to hear about those updates. And if anybody gets Club Eaton, it should be Eatonville. That's all I have. Thank you.
That's it. All right,
Maybe I'm
anybody else?
fine.
All right. Whatever I have, I think I'll reach out personally. And I think I'll save my story for Tuesday. So with that being said, motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed. All right, 8:12. We are.
Stay warm, y'all get them jackets out, them boots. I know y'all gonna pull them boots out.
Tomorrow. Y'all got the 2 times you can wear.
Something to get us tomorrow.